Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen roadmap feature updates and that sort of stuff, looking at patch alpha 3.2 this time, which should be released around the end of June, while its testing phase, its Evocati phase, is expected to start by the end of May. With each of these items, please remember that they may get pushed back to 3.3 for September if they're not ready for the 3.2 patch. The new way that CIG operate with persistent universe patches is to release what they have ready every quarter, and there is the potential for extra bits and pieces not listed here too, and anything that didn't make it into 3.1 or requires a little bit more polish, that will get pushed into 3.2 this patch as well. Legacy Marine armor and Outlaw armor. This is going to be the revisiting of the old light, medium and heavy Marine and Outlaw armors unveiled in the initial Star Marine demo, and then updating them to the current spec with higher fidelity and the new item system. They're also going to be putting the RSI Odyssey flight suit in there as well, reworked. That's kind of, again, just bringing it up to the fidelity they want. And they're adding a Port Olisar general-like set of clothing and costumes that the inhabitants and store owners of Port Olisar will have, as well as that they're going to be purchasable, a lot of them in-game, in the clothing sets and clothing stores and that sort of jazz. FPS combat AI. They are implementing basic FPS combat AI behaviors to allow for players to engage with enemy targets on the ground or in ships to add an extra element of action for some of the missions. This is actually going to be quite a big feature, allowing NPCs to actually do combat with us in the FPS style. Flight AI for 3.2. They're improving existing and developing new and deeper flight behaviors and characteristics for AI pilots. And this is not just going to be enemies to fight, but it will also be civilian and security personalities too. New ships for 3.2. The 600i, the Hurricane, the Eclipse, the Blade, as well as the Avenger and Mustang reworks should all be flight ready with that patch. FPS weapons. So they are designing and creating the Gemini F-55 light machine gun for use by characters in game, and that's not just the asset creation, that's all the animations and everything to use it as well, and weapon balancing will go into that too. That's some of the smaller bits for 3.2, however, the patch is extremely mechanic and gameplay heavy, so let's jump into that. Distress calls. The initial system for distress calls will allow players to call for help, and this is going to create a marker that can be viewed by other players and then travelled to, literally quantum travelled to. It would also have a mechanic to transfer money between players as a reward as well. Service beacons for escorting, refueling and repair. So they're building off the distress call functionality there. This service beacon feature would allow players to hire another player to escort them to a specific location or for a mission, or for them to be refueled or repaired by them, and then arranges payment automatically there. Mining. So there's a few things that go into mining. Prospecting will allow players to scan areas to identify potential mineral deposits. This is going to tie into the scanning mechanics and can be used both on foot as well as via ship. I also expect that we'll be seeing a lot of new scanning updates and that sort of stuff for 3.2 as well. Extraction. This is going to allow players to dig and extract minerals from planets and asteroids. The system needs to work both on foot and in ship as well. Refining, allowing the conversion of raw materials that are gathered from mining into more purified states if you want to. And this is going to be player and NPC driven. Selling. This is going to allow the sale of both refined and raw materials as well as their trade to players and NPCs. Salvage mechanics. So salvaging, again, it consists of a few different things for this patch. Scanning, the ability for players to scan and identify pieces of debris that could potentially be salvaged. This system should be accommodating to players on foot as well as on ship again. Extraction, mechanics for players to literally salvage pieces of debris from wrecks or derelicts and place them in a hold or carry them to ships or whatever. This system, again, should be allowing players to work on foot, in ship, as well as planet side. Processing, allowing players to break down salvaged debris into component parts for transport or sale, and the ability for players to sell and trade any of those components as they come, both refined, raw salvage, whatever, to players and NPCs too. Manual repair. So, going away from salvage now, these are the mechanics necessary for players to traverse to the exterior of larger ships and perform spot repairs on damaged hulls. This is also going to be swapping out broken components and using hand welding tools, and it's going to be basically majorly allow you to go outside and physically repair ships in general, not just larger ones. Additional fuel mechanics are going to be in as well. So buying and selling of fuel. So this is going to be locations and interfaces necessary to allow players to buy and and sell fuel to NPCs and other players, and this can be bought in bulk or sold in bulk at stations too. Fuel transfers. These are the mechanics to allow players to connect with and directly provide fuel to another ship, be it a player or an NPC, and it obviously ties into those service beacons, literally you going out and saving a player because they've run out of fuel. The wear and tear of ships and FPS equipment is also in 3.2. They're utilising various shader technologies to have ship components and FPS weapons and weapons in game effectively age over time, and use will affect these too. These items will not only look used, but they will have the potential to misfire if not maintained properly. Economy 3.2. So they're going to be continuing to do this overall polish pass on the economy systems for commodity trading, item pricing, things that you can buy, basically giving the players a better overall experience and just kind of improving the way you can interact with NPCs, all that sort of jazz. As with all patches we will see from CIG this year, they are going to be performing ongoing performance improvements with specific quarterly goals to increase overall frame rates among all PC specs, and generally fixing bugs and all that sort of jazz as well. 3.2 is the patch I am looking forward to the most in 2018, with those mining, salvage, refuel and repair mechanics and NPC combat on the ground in FPS combat style. Expect a whole range of new missions too that cover all of those new mechanics, more items in shops, more diverse random events, that sort of stuff. And ships should be available to purchase with Alpha UEC in 3.2 if they're not in 3.1's patch. In fact, anything that doesn't make it into 3.1's patch earlier in the year, as well as additional feedback gained from 3.1, should all appear in 3.2 as well. And then patch 3.3 is the one coming after that in September, and we will cover that in the next roadmap video. Every month we have a giveaway for a ship. For January, it's for a Hammerhead gunboat donated by our featured org, IDF, the Intergalactic Defence Force. They are a lawful org that focus on trade, security, escorting and teamwork, but will dabble in all areas of the game. Links below if you're interested in checking them out. They have an active Discord now, and they are active in the game for 3.0. All you need to do, however, to be in for a chance of winning that Hammerhead is be subscribed to my YouTube channel and then comment on any of my Star Citizen videos during this particular month. Now, do you have any questions about the roadmap so far, about Star Citizen or Squadron 42's development, gameplay mechanics, or any suggestions or whatever? Chuck them in the comments below. A special thank you to my Patreons who allow me to create the amount of content I do. Thank you so much, guys. You are legends. If you're interested in becoming one of those legends, you can find the links to Patreon down below, as well as everything else we've talked about. Please don't forget to like and subscribe as well, as it really does help me, and I'll see you in the verse.